What first comes to mind when you hear the words monster collecting game? It's most always going to be Pokemon, and while Pokemon is a good franchise in its own respect, it will always have the effect of pushing any other game that tries to take its own shot at the genre just right to the side. It's a huge shame that these other fantastic titles don't get the recognition, or at least renown that they deserve. So today I want to share 3 monster collecting games for the DS that you probably haven't heard of and should definitely check out. First up on today's list, we've got Monster Racers. Monster Racers was developed by Koei in 2009, and to see this kind of game come from the company that makes Dynasty Warriors was a rather pleasant surprise. Monster Racers is set on Earth using real locations like Europe and Australia as the game's exploration areas. The story is centered around the player who is an upcoming monster trainer who is trying to become the best monster racer in the world. The gameplay consists of just about what you'd expect of a monster collecting game. You unload into an exploration area, and you start to encounter new, fun, and unique monsters to add to your team. For some reason, the developers chose to opt out of using overworld sprites and decided that the random encounters would be these randomly appearing yellow orbs. Upon encountering one of these monsters, you'll begin a race against them. You can either beat them in a race to gain XP and reward money, or you can shoot them with, I don't know, stars of friendship? Oh, the game calls them Monstars. Each monster also gets their own unique move that can be used when you race in tournaments against other trainers, and they all seem to have their own cool special effects. Overall, the monster designs are really fun and inspired. The Australian monsters in particular got a chuckle out of me with creatures like the koala-looking dinkum, the jabberoo, and the bandicoot. Something neat is that each monster also has its preferred type of terrain to run on, like grass, rocks, sand, water, and even lava. There's also stats that determine if a monster is better at smashing through obstacles and how long they can stun other monsters by running into them during a race. Once you have your preferred team of monsters, you can enter into a tournament where you have to qualify, win semifinals, and then win the big trophy at the end. There's plenty more features that I won't go into detail about, but I'll just mention them. There's breeding, you can use orbs to change the colors of your monsters, there's field items, and lots of other cool things to check out for yourself. Monster Racers also includes up to 4-player wireless play that allows you and up to 3 friends to race, trade, and allegedly even explore areas and recruit monsters together. I actually didn't know about this game prior to getting a list together for this video, and I rather enjoyed it, and might go and complete it in my free time. It's a very pleasant and fun take on the monster collecting genre, and I highly recommend checking it out. For the second game on the list, we've got Spectrobes Beyond the Portals. Spectrobes Beyond the Portals is actually the second game in the trilogy, with the first game also being on the DS, and the third game being on the Wii. The main reason I chose the sequel is because it took everything that was great about the first game and improved it in just about every possible manner. Spectrobes is about you playing as Rollin, an intergalactic police officer tasked with defeating an alien force known as the Crawl. In order to combat them, Rollin calls on the power of the game's creatures, aptly named Spectrobes. The gameplay involves you flying from planet to planet, running around and excavating fossils that you can revive into more and more different Spectrobes. Once revived, you can either keep the Spectrobes as its first form, the child form, and have them follow you around and help find resources, or you can feed them minerals that you excavate in order to evolve them into their more powerful battle forms. The designs for the Spectrobes are absolutely nuts. You can have this cute little koala bear that turns into a massive lion dog, a friendly porcupine ankylosaurus thing that turns into a brutal berserker, a living locomotive, cool dragons, and even a sentient pair of shoes. The battles in this game are pretty fun too. Rather than a typical turn-based battle that you'd expect of a monster collecting RPG, you get put into these real-time battles where you control 2 Spectrobes at once fighting against rounds of aliens, collecting XP and loot from each encounter. I personally have a lot of nostalgia for this game, but I think it really holds up after all this time as a pretty solid experience. The story is original, the cutscenes are beautifully animated, and the overall graphics are rather impressive, with really nice full 3D models and excellent sprite work wherever it's shown. I think Spectrobes offers a very unique take on the monster collecting genre, and there's a fair amount of game with an average completion taking about 24 hours. It's definitely worth taking a look at if you have the time. Last but not least, I just have to talk about Fossil Fighters. Fossil Fighters is everything a dinosaur enthusiast and Pokemon fan could ever hope for, and the name is exactly as you'd expect. You get to collect dinosaurs and pit them against each other in epic, fully 3D battles. In Fossil Fighters, you start off as a rookie fighter, starting their quest to be the best fossil fighter on all of Vivisor Island, fighting villains and interesting characters all along the way. You'll delve into ancient ruins, explore sunken pirate ships, and uncover many deep secrets of the island, and maybe you'll even encounter some aliens along the way. The monsters in this game are more than just revived dinosaurs. They're brought back to life with mysterious and amazing powers. You can have a T-Rex that breathes fire, a Velociraptor that inflicts poison, and a Mosasaur that can whirl up massive typhoons, and there's so many more. The game calls them Vivisaurs, and there is over 100 of these uniquely designed creatures that you can add to your team. The way that you revive fossils is by playing a really fun fossil cleaning minigame using a hammer and drill to break away parts of the rock and get to the sweet bones stored within. There's more to it than that as well. The more fossils that you clean for a specific Vivisaur, the stronger they become, gaining access to new passive abilities, combat moves, and status effects that can be inflicted upon your opponents. The combat of the game is very intuitive. It features a 4-space grid system that lets you put one Vivisaur at the front and 2 on the sides, acting as your support Vivisaurs, where they can apply buffs to the main dino in front. Each turn you'll gain fossil points, FP for short, and these points determine how many actions you can take in one turn. At the start of the game, you'll typically only generate enough points for one move, but by the end of the game, you'll be pulling off devastating combos as your FP generation increases. This is by far the longest game in today's list, coming in at about an average of 30 hours of playtime for a story completion and about 60 to 70 hours for 100% completion. And it's honestly quite entertaining throughout the entire duration. Now, for the sake of the video, I didn't want to count this as a 4th game, but I do want to mention the sequel, Fossil Fighters Champions. Champions takes just about every aspect of the first game and improves it in just every conceivable way. It doesn't feel like any of the value or entertainment factor is lost at any point in the sequel, and it's absolutely worth a play, and it actually calls back to the first game a decent amount. The sequel includes bigger fossils, bigger maps, more intricate battle mechanics, and a whole 60 more Vivisaurs to collect and battle with. No matter which Fossil Fighters game you choose to start with, I can promise you won't be disappointed as they both offer really fun and unique experiences. And that about wraps it up for today's video. If you guys have any suggestions for more games that I could have included on this list, or if you have experience with these games, let me know what you think down below. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, a like or subscribe would be greatly appreciated, and I hope you have an amazing day.